Realtors, I know you want hot leads. I can see it in your eyes. Well, I'm going to teach you how to get more of them. And no, I'm not talking about cold calling or door knocking or all that stuff you really don't want to do. For every 100 leads you talk to, on average, only about 2% are what you'd consider hot leads right out of the gate. So if you're expecting a lot more than that to be hot out of the gate, you need to give your head a shake. But let's talk about how to bring more of those people down the funnel into that hot lead category. Because studies show the average person is about 8 touch points away from becoming a client. And I want to be crystal clear about something. After doing this for several years and working with thousands of agents, I can tell you one thing with absolute certainty. The thing that separates agents doing 50 to 100K a year and struggling to grow from there, and the agents doing 500K plus a year, is the conversion. It all comes down to what questions you're asking, how you're building relationships, how you're building your brand and becoming a trusted advisor. Because I promise you, you're not selling real estate. You're facilitating the sale of real estate by offering services. So you're selling services, and how are you promoting that? And a lot of that does come down to, yes, your marketing, but the majority of the lift is really done on the sales call. For simplicity, let's assume your database is just 100 people. So where are they at in the client journey, and how well do they know your brand? I'm going to show you how you can push the people from being further out in the sphere of knowing you into the inner circle. Starting with the hottest leads, which is really your sphere of influence and your past clients. Usually these people only take a few touch points to get them over the finish line because they already know you. And as I said, only 2% of leads are in this hot category. And it's no wonder why we all love these types of hot leads. They just take way less time. They're usually easier to work with. They're ready to go. Obviously, we all want more of this. But the great agents don't just rely on referral business and their sphere of influence. They know how to attract other business from a variety of places and take them from what is known as a cold lead into a hot prospect ready to buy. But does it help to work with your sphere of influence and referrals? Of course it does. So let's first start with the coldest of cold leads, which we'll just call cold prospects. Now, generally, this is 20 to 40 touch points you're going to need to make to actually bring these people through to a transaction. Now, I'm not just talking about any touch points when I go through these. I'm talking about genuine outreach that is helping them with their journey. But the reality is these people are probably going to ignore you right away, and you need to be prepared for that. And the reason they ignored you is because they're not necessarily ready to talk to someone. Think about that time you last walked into a clothing store and someone came right up to you and was like, "Hey, can I help you?" And you're like, "I just got here. Like, I haven't even looked around. Like, give me some space." It's a little bit different if they just want to give you a brochure of all of our sales that are happening right now. You're like, "Oh, that's warm and inviting. Like, thanks for helping me look around. I'll let you know if I need any help." Now there's like a bit of rapport built. It's like dating, right? You have to like warm up to each other, right? You're a person, they're a person. You do not know each other. So you need to use some rapport building tools by helping people. Offer a helping hand. Don't go straight for the conversion. Like, "Hey, I noticed you signed up on our website. You want to book a call with me and talk about buying or selling a home?" Like, that's not how you approach these people. They're in the stage, generally speaking, at least the lead gen we do at Agent Launch, of looking for properties or looking to get a value for their property. And that's usually an early stage. And so sometimes people are further along in that, but right now we're talking about the coldest prospects. They may be 6 to 18 months away from transacting, but the beauty of doing online lead gen and generating some of these leads is you're setting up a pipeline for the future. So I just had a client reach out to me and say, "Eric, I had 5 leads all of a sudden just reactivate on my website. They all talked to me and we booked 5 appointments from that." And now she's working with, I think, at least 3 of them. When you have been doing this for a long time, you get these leads that are kind of coming out of nowhere from in the past, but they're doing it because you were proactively following up with them over the course of that year through like a weekly active newsletter, all that kind of stuff. So the best way to prospect these leads, because you may not get a hold of them right away, is to send out a weekly newsletter. So we promote a newsletter in our program where it's really 4 parts. It's not a cookie cutter drip campaign that someone created that you haven't even read all the emails over 18 months. It's a real hard-hitting newsletter. Like, we send out one called the Launch Letter. You can sign up on agentlaunch.com. We include all our videos that week, news, a lot of cool stuff in there. The goal is to make people want to look forward to your newsletter. So here's the 4 parts. The first thing is a pick of the week. So this is a deal of the week. Why do you love a certain property that's listed on the market? What about it is unique? Is it a good value? Is it just a special property? Talk about that. Then you're going to put some benchmark solds in section 2. You're going to benchmark maybe a condo, whatever's unique to your market. Maybe you benchmark a certain price point. Hey, this place just sold for 1.65 million, which pushes the benchmark price of this kind of market up a little bit. Talk about why those are important. That's going to appeal to sellers. Ultimately, sellers want to know what's selling for what. The third part is going to be news. So what is relevant to people? Are interest rates going up or down? Like, what's happening in real estate? There's some big news right now with the NAR lawsuit. So like, what's happening in real estate that's going to actually affect people? Tell them about that. You want to be their source of truth or source of information for real estate. The fourth thing is going to be things to do. I don't know about you, but I struggle to keep up with what's going on wherever I'm living. I've always been bad at this. So this is something I think people appreciate, is things to do in your area. You're becoming an ambassador of your area. Now, you can obviously layer more to this. If you're doing YouTube, throw your YouTube video in there for that week. You want to actually include, though, like a BombBomb video, and I have links down below to sign up for BombBomb, is something we've been using a lot in emails because you can actually watch the video in the email, and it's working really well. And we're getting a lot of clients have a lot of success since we've implemented this strategy with some really simple scripts. Do a BombBomb video going over the pick of the week, going over the solds, going over the news, going over the events. Are you going to be there? Tell people about that. So it's a high touch point newsletter. This is what you're going to do with these cold leads, assuming you're not getting a hold of them right away. Okay. So let's move on to the next stage, which is what I'd call somewhat familiar prospects. So they're kind of cold in the sense that they're probably a little ways out. They're somewhat familiar with you. Maybe they've been getting your newsletter for a while. Maybe, they've seen you around. So you want to really approach these people a little bit differently. You might call them, you might update their saved search on your website. You might do something proactive like once a month to really try and get that conversation started. They already know you. They might be searching homes on your website. They might be consuming your BombBomb videos or your newsletter, whatever. And so they kind of know who you are. And you're like in probably their top list of agents that they may work with. Because the reality is people are on multiple websites talking to multiple people. And if you don't think that, trust me, that's happening. And when you lose deals and when people ignore you, it's generally because they chose someone else. So you need to be the chosen one. If someone's doing that stuff, they're somewhat familiar with you. This is when you want to make an occasional touch point. Like you don't want to focus the majority of your energy here. You want to keep the majority of your energy focused on the leads that you've spoken to and generating a really hot list and really working with those hot people. But have a task once a month where you do a proactive outreach to this person. This is really how you're trying to move people up the pipeline. But generally, these people take 5 to 20 touch points to really get to the place of actually converting them into an appointment and hopefully, obviously a paying client. Now, the next stage of this is what I'd call warm inbound leads. So these are people who found you online. And you may not have generated them from an ad. They actually found you online, generally through social media, through some videos, things like that. So they're already familiar with you. They're more likely to pick up the phone when you call and actually engage with you and talk to you because there's some built-in trust. I would say for myself, this is primarily what I deal with. People who've watched my videos like you are now, they've gone through my channel, they've watched a bunch of my stuff, they've probably looked at 4 or 5 other companies and they're like, hey, I like your guys' style, you're pretty genuine and authentic. These are things I hear all the time because I just try to be real with people. And they're like, I want to talk to you. And that's great. There's already some built-in trust there. I can promise you these are the best types of leads. They haven't even presented them with your service offering yet per se. Generally, these people take 5 to 10 touch points, generally sometimes less, to just get them along to the point of having an appointment. Reality is you just want to show them that you are who you present yourself as. Because the thing is, honestly, some YouTubers, some people out there, I've talked to them and they're a little different than how they actually come off on camera. So you're kind of just showing them that you are who you present yourself as. And really then it's about moving them through all the way down to an appointment. Make sure you're doing a weekly personalized touch point. That's usually with a BombBomb video, quick text, quick email, and you're building that rapport, right? I cannot tell you how many clients we have that are dealing with these types of people on a regular basis. Oh yeah, I've been talking to this guy for 12 months now, and he just did a $4 million transaction with me and I made a bunch of money. And so it's that can happen. I just talked to our sales coach, actually just had a client who we talked about that did that. It was a $100,000 commission from a guy he'd just been going back and forth with for a year and just being supportive. And the best part is he actually wants to do another deal in a few months. So that's an entire year's pay for a lot of people just by doing that proactive types of thing you should always be doing. So this is where we get into how we structure our pipeline for our clients when we build out their CRM for them, is we usually structure it hot, nurture, unresponsive. So hot is where you get a task every week. Nurture is where you get a task every month. Unresponsive is where they just get your newsletter. Those people are categorized on hot is 90 days or less. Nurture is 90 days or more. Unresponsive is you don't know because you haven't got a hold of them, but they may be active on your site. And if they're active, we have another pipeline for that recently active. That's when you want to do some proactive stuff in there at least once a month as well. So that's really your main stages. The next are kind of your hot leads, which are either you're hot, you've talked to them, you've built rapport, they're working with you, they've kind of chosen you, they're not really shopping around anymore, they like you. But there's 2 categories here. They're either in the buying window or they're out of the buying window. You want to have a touch point once a week, but it depends. If they are pretty far out of the buying window, you might want to do, once every couple of weeks or once a month, keep them on your newsletter. Maybe you're texting them once in a while, but you really do approach these leads differently in the frequency and how often you approach them, but with the same type of approach. You generally are adding value to their search because the reality is people don't care about your testimonials when they're in that cold stage. They don't care about you really. All they care about is properties, finding properties. Okay, where do they want to buy a home and how much are they going to get it for? How much value are they going to get? And then sellers generally care about that as well, but also how much are they going to get for their home? That's going to determine what they can actually buy next. So focus on helping them with those things. That's why, one of our clients literally yesterday posted in our community, which you can join, by the way, if you go to app.agentlaunch.com. There's also a link in the description. He sent a BombBomb video doing a CMA to a lead that was a little bit colder and was a little hesitant. And she found it so helpful that she was already going to work with another agent. She didn't have an agent yet, but she was looking at another agent. She was kind of exploring options. He just blew her away with his CMA and how helpful he was, that she wrote a long comment in BombBomb, is now going to work with him. So how cool is that? By going over and above, you're showing that you're more proactive. And that's the approach we really want to take with people. Now, if you're ready to start building a pipeline of leads and converting them from cold leads all the way down into hot leads, ready to buy, ready to work with you, watch this video right here.